Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Japheth, with
Jackie.
And
I'm Josh.
Hey, Josh.
I'm Josh. Tomorrow.
Hi.
I don't know.
I'm hesitant about you, Josh.
I haven't figured out his voice yet, so.
You're kind of new here.
You're kind of new.
I know.
And then we also have
Father Yodeler.
And today we're going to dive into a magazine. Right? You're like, what?
What's a magazine?
Magazine. Yeah, it's so D23 has come to an end.
That's
the magazine.
correct. The D23 magazine, they no longer offer to club members. And so I thought it would be fun to talk about what magazines are still out there. And print magazines on the whole are going down. People aren't buying them.
They're expensive. You're like, I'm going to spend $14 on a magazine when, like,
I can just scroll through it on my phone.
I could go on the internet.
Or you're like, I can buy a book, you know, or something like, I don't have half the advertisements in here.
That's true. And so somewhere along the way, I got wind of the WDW magazine, which is mostly about Walt Disney World magazine. That started in 2013.
Yeah.
And that's a monthly magazine. I never purchased the physical, but I started buying the digital magazine so I could get that. Very good photography was the main thing that I was noting, was that all the people that took the pictures, they looked really good. And then when they about 3.5 years ago, they started the DLR magazine, which is the Disneyland Resort magazine, and so I did sign up for that one and to get the print magazine. And so I thought it would be nice to talk about that in case you're also missing the D23 magazine and want to know.
I didn't realize this wasn't an actual Disney published.
No, it's not
Okay.
Disney published. And in fact, the publishing company's in Ohio.
Right.
And
It's
Well,
kind
yeah,
of
if it's
nice.
the
You
same
didn't have a bunch
company,
of Disney, like, advertisement.
Yeah.
Nope.
It didn't have
really-
that.
There wasn't
feeling.
30 advertisements for Cruise Line in there and Disney Vacation Club.
Right.
It seems
Yeah.
a little on the pricey side for it, but there are no advertisements to speak in there.
It's content.
It's content.
What were you guys' overall thoughts just going through it?
I was going, this is
It's
the type
nice.
of stuff that I would want to read on the casual.
Right.
It was nice. Honestly, it was giving like internet blog vibe.
I think it was better than internet blog.
Way
vibes.
better.
It is way better. It's I was impressed with some of the writing in there, and it's if you're looking for the internet, I want the dirt on Disney. You're not going to get it from
No.
this. They are on good terms with Disney, so they get in on the media events and the early adoption so that they can advertise it. So this is giving you what you felt as a child about the excitement of going to Disney. And so it's painted with a positive brush, almost as if Disney itself was writing it, but it's also not that. It is a positive media spin on Disneyland.
I found it quite informative
Yeah.
with just the historical stuff. And as we'll go through some of the headlines and articles, it's just like, oh yeah, we talked about that. We've talked about that. And I'm all like, wow, these guys really know how to pick good topics. We should have a podcast. Oh, we have already on this. And so I was like, oh, this is cool. And I found it quite informative. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, they pulled from here. I didn't like... It was nice, and there was one like thing in here where I was like, that it was a food recipe, and I was gushing over. I was like, I really want that.
It looks really
That
good.
looks really good. And
Though, as I said, the WDW magazine is every month,
Right.
but the DLR magazine is once a quarter. So 4 times a year you get this one, and so that's
That's an appropriate amount, because if it's every month, then you're just like, they're updating the Conquering. You're like, that's nice.
Yeah, and Disney World has
A lot more.
a lot more to pull from, and to update people with that kind of
There's a lot more
information.
angles.
And I
to
don't
it.
necessarily feel like the magazine was coming off as like this month's
It's not
update
Disney
on the
news.
park.
It's
No.
just
It's
Disney
just-
fan.
This is just Disney fans talking about Disneyland and the connections. I
There's,
mean,
like,
with this magazine,
history.
there was a lot of. This one was a lot about Walt.
Yeah.
This was like the Walt issue
Yeah,
that,
that was-
we read. So
And so that made it really fun to read.
yes, it did.
I think the photography is phenomenal and inviting on all of it.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. I go, oh, this isn't Disney published. Oh, okay.
So if just looking at the contents page, what articles did you see in there that jumped out of you and said, that one looks interesting? Or when you were leafing through it, or what articles kind of jumped out of you as saying, gee, this sounds like an interesting topic? Mine were kind of like Disneyland's first 11 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That one jumped out at me. Hidden in Plain Sight. That one.
I like that one.
That one jumped out at me. Walt and its cast members. Was
Oh,
interesting.
that was a fun one. I like that one.
And from storytellers to partners. Those were the 4 that initially.
Those were kind of the big ones
Yeah.
of this magazine.
I enjoyed the Herbie one, who created the map.
Oh yes,
I like that one.
I like that one because I did an episode.
That's what I was
on
about to
I was
say.
all
Yeah.
like, I was like, this one seems familiar.
Yeah.
I did an episode on. that.
I'm just happy they had a whole little blurb on one of my Walt Disney pins that I had.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, that was in there as
For
well.
those who don't know, Peter collects Walt Disney
pins.
pins.
So pins that have
Trading pins.
Walt Disney on the pin.
So to give you an idea of what the magazine sounds like when you read it, the first paragraph from the editor's letter reads, "This December will mark 60 years since Walt Disney left us, yet I can still feel his presence so profoundly every time I step inside a Disney park or fire up Disney Plus for the comfort that comes from watching a childhood favorite. Walt's legacy is in every drop of water on It's a Small World, every gnarled root on Tom Sawyer Island, every tree that sways in the California breeze in the Castle Hub. Still today, his unique vision and approaches remain crucial to how Imagineers work at Disneyland and beyond." I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful little written paragraph, and it's kind of the tone that the magazine takes. Did anybody read Walt Lives On in the Man, the Myth, and the Animatronic?
Yeah, I read it.
The animatronic freaked me out.
Oh, you
I've
haven't
never
seen
gone,
it
and
yet.
that was the first time seeing it. I'm all like, oh gosh.
I always look at it and say, hey, for having been dead for 60 years, he looks great. Or 50
Right,
years.
right.
He looks great.
They're gonna have to tweak that one a little bit.
I mean, they talked about, like, in that article about the Imagineer who created Tom, who created the design of Walt, and how they really focused on the eyes.
Yeah, the glint,
The glint.
in Walt Disney's eyes, and they said they figured out
How to do
How to
that
do it.
mechanically.
that where it actually, if the eye puffs out a little bit, then you get that kind of glint
Give
looking.
him the lazy eye.
And
That's a Fightful
Goes
Goes
West
West
reference,
reference.
I thought that was very interesting
Yeah.
that they caught that and put it in there, and I thought, wow, that's some Imagineering to,
I
to
like
look at that.
the amount of effort that they went through for this show is fantastic. I think it's a great start
for how they're handling the Walt animatronic. I'm curious to see what they've learned from this experience to when they add the Walt animatronic to the Carousel of Progress later.
Well, and it's interesting. They started this project in July of 2018. I didn't think I was surprised on how late, like this was pre-COVID, they were planning this.
Which obviously that slowed things down.
Right, but like
They had to put a mask over the animatronic.
from the guests, like you thought, oh, maybe they kind of
It
did
was-
this in the past like few years, but it was much longer.
It was around the same time they started putting the Walt statues in every park around the world is when they started working on this. They realized they needed to have, there was a demand to have more Walt's presence in the parks. And so that was their like short-term plan, were to add the statues, because there's several different ones now. And then they're like, well, let's try to do this animatronic. And then they've been working on it since 2018, but they didn't necessarily have like the go ahead to make it happen till later.
Yeah, I mean, 2018, they're just doing the initial research.
And they knew they had to do it right, because there's just
Correct.
too much out there. It's not
Yeah.
like Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, we have some fuzzy photographs and distant ones. You can.
Well, there was the big concern of like, oh, we're gonna have AI Walt, and then they were like, no, we don't want AI Walt. We want Walt. And so
Did you not see the picture? Like, he doesn't look like Walt.
well, again, like you have to fit so many mechanics in the body, and so I think they did the best they could.
It looks better in person than it does.
I from what I've told, because I haven't seen it yet in person, but from what I've been
Look at that. It does not look like Walt to me.
You are not that close.
Again,
you are not that close.
every time somebody takes a picture, it looks weird. But like everyone that says, "Oh no," like when you see it in person, most of the show he looks fine. There's just moments in the show that everyone takes a photo of where it doesn't look like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always this moment where he's got his like eyes open. He's like,
Now give him the wing. Give him the glance.
I would say don't sit in the front row.
Yeah.
This is not a front row.
You could go back seat.
You go in the back and you're going to get a better illusion, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. That's for sure.
You don't want nightmares.
And again, I think it's again, he looks great for having been dead for 50 years. So he looks
60.
great. And
60 years now.
They talk about I have an article about Walt Disney's favorite cocktail. I learned something about cocktails.
We talked about this on the episode about Walt in the park,
yeah,
because it was in his studio
right.
with like what he had, like
Had his
food
chili.
and drinks of choice. And that one was really fascinating for me. It was all like, what's in Walt's fridge? You know, like,
Right.
remember Crib's like,
Yeah.
this is my fridge. Yeah, that was like, what's in Walt's fridge, or what does he serve?
Chili.
Yeah, Walt's chili.
So yeah, I agree. I was like, oh yeah, that goes along with what they're doing. But they also say that it's served at the Carthay Circle, so that's cool that you can get like
Yeah.
what Walt liked. And do they serve the chili there, or do they serve it somewhere else?
They serve it at the Coke Corner. That's where they sell.
I
the-
think they
the
also
Walt
sell
Disney.
at like Carnation, like cafe, like the restaurant in Main Street. I think they sell it there.
They
Walt's
might.
chili.
Oh, the one right there.
Yeah, like the one in between the buildings.
Right.
I think it's Carnation. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they sell it there.
They might.
The next,
I haven't eaten there in forever.
Same.
The next article is about a work in progress, Disneyland's first 11 years with Walt Disney, because that's how long Walt Disney was alive with his park. And you kind of get this feeling by reading it is, wow, there was a lot of change going on
Oh, yeah.
during Walt's time.
Well-
He was really trying to plus his park.
Well, you look at what Disneyland was on opening year, and it wasn't anything to call home about. Like,
Well,
It's better than a circus,
right.
but it's nothing
Compared to
what
what
it is now.
No, nothing like
Like
that.
the attractions were bare bone. There was no theming. It was just kind of like they were hard. Obviously, when you're dealing with when you plant plants at the very beginning, they're very small, and so everything looked like a mound of dirt was everywhere.
Yes.
And so it just wasn't the prettiest park at the very beginning.
And
but
also-
Walt was quick to fix those problems. He fixed the Tomorrowland issue because there was nothing for Tomorrowland when the park first opened.
Right. It was perfect. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
it may be better.
Yeah. I like the quote that Disney's quoted in here, and he says, "The park means a lot to me in that it's something that will never be finished. Something that I can keep developing, keep plussing, and adding to. It's alive. It will be alive. A live, breathing thing that will need changes." And I just like his attitude about it. I want it to be constantly growing and developing and changing.
We can't always cling to the history of things just because it's the history. If there's something that we can plus it, make things better, to tell better stories, we should feel like we can. And I think that's where a lot of Disney fans are divided, where they're like, "Oh, we got to hold on to the past, but I also want the new shiny toy." It's like, well, you kind of have to pick your poison. So,
Yeah. Next article was top 3 awards won by Walt Disney.
I like this one. I learned something from these.
What did you learn from this?
The Snow White one I knew.
Yeah.
Right.
That one's pretty common. Wasn't he really mad about that too? He was kind of miffed, like
Because he didn't get a real.
he didn't get he got like, here's this pretend one.
Yeah.
well, because they didn't want to nominate a cartoon for the best.
Because they didn't know what to do. They're like, what do you do with this? Like,
There was no animation category.
no.
It was easily the best movie of that year, but they didn't.
the
They couldn't give it to an animated movie.
the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I didn't
Right.
know he got that.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was nice the quote that President Johnson gave him: "In the course of entertaining an age, he has created an American folklore." And I thought that's a nice.
That's a nice thing to say. And
Right.
I mean, he receives it with like Helen Keller, John Steinbeck. Like it's just there's just like some great company that he's with when receiving this, and it's like, wow. Guy who makes
he's-
cartoons, and it's like, whoa, like he's
He's there.
he's there, part of American history
mean-
right there.
I mean, they talk about his Oscars. There will never be a single person that will ever beat his Oscar record.
What about John Williams? He's gonna
Nope,
be that. No?
not even close.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not even close.
It's all those shorts.
Like Walt has, it was like 30 some.
It was close. It may have been 29.
But
It
who
was like-
cares? I want
And,
more.
and I think John Williams is like,
like
number
number
two,
two.
but he only has like 10 or something like
I thought it was
that.
like only.
I know, right?
He was just nominated for like 17.
He's
Yes.
the Michael. So Walt is the Michael Phelps of
Yes,
of
absolutely.
Oscars.
Yep. Yeah, no one. I would, because of how the movie industry has exploded. There's no way any one person could beat that record. I don't care how many movies Tom Hanks does in a row. No, I think he's only won one, but
He's won, I think, a couple.
Has he won
Meryl
two?
Streep.
Meryl Streep's
Meryl
won a lot.
Streep
Somebody
is,
that's
yeah.
somebody to beat.
I also like the National Inventors Hall of Fame. That
Yes.
was cool.
Yeah.
The next article is on Herbie and the map. This is the map that was drawn by Herb Ryman for the beginning of Disneyland.
It's the late night with Walt. Like, hey, let's do this.
48 hours to make a map.
to sell to the banks.
Yep.
That's making maps. That's impressive.
Especially one that's just out of Walt's imagination, basically.
And the fact, like, you look at this original artwork, this original map, that was designed and drawn out, there is so much detail. It's not like the drivel that we see now from like when Disney posts
hey,
vague
map
picture.
makers. I'm not. Don't be making fun of us.
No, I'm not even talking about map makers. I'm talking about like the bland concept art that like Imagineering throws up and be like, look, we're these villains land where there's like what's
It's all blurry.
I don't see
You're
what's
like-
going on. You can zoom into this picture and see like all this amazing detail of like everything Walt wanted to do, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I keep wondering on the Villains Land. I say, is it only going to be open when it's dark out? Because you're going to lose the atmosphere on a bright, sunny Florida day.
Right.
You lose that. One of the quotes in this that I really liked worded is that Herb Ryman said, Walt asked me, Herbie, would you stay with us and help us on the project? Meaning Disneyland. And Herb says, I said, yeah, I will stay with you, Walt, as long as it is interesting. And Disney said, I'll try to make it interesting. I think we can agree they kept it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. I liked the Christmas tree moment
At the corner.
in the corner, the little fun fact.
Oh, that.
Yeah, so
that
in
was-
1988, Herb was battling cancer and was afraid that he wasn't going to see Christmas. So they purchased a small tree and they gave it to him. And he like had a really hard time letting the tree go. And because it gave him hope during battling cancer. And following his passing, a group of Imagineers and a family planted a Christmas tree near the Sleeping Beauty castle.
You may recognize it. You may remember there being a Christmas tree there. It's been replaced.
Yeah.
But they did replace it with another tree once it gotten.
So it's just like I didn't know that, and so the next time I go to the Disney park, I really want to look for the tree.
I kind of remember seeing like a Christmas tree and going, oh, cool, it's a Christmas tree. But it's cool to have a story
behind it.
with it. And that's what's fun about, when you know a lot about Disney, or if you're just learning about it, you can't help but like, well, that's cool. Well, that's cool, to where everything you look around you has a story.
Yeah.
And it just makes you appreciate that there's life all around you with these.
Yeah.
The next article is hidden in plain sight, pieces of Disneyland's earliest history around the park. Anybody read this one?
Yeah.
Enjoy it? What did you find interesting?
There's a lot. There's 2 train tracks.
Yeah, that they actually had a track for the trains
There was
to
the-
get out
an
of the way
express.
so that they could have two trains at the Main Street station at the same
Yeah,
time.
because they had one train that would not stop,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
the one that would stop.
That Disney sold tobacco and pipes.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And that's like the Indian
music shop.
statue.
Well, that was kind of common with that like statue of
Yeah.
time was
Yep.
to indicate like, hey,
Well, you
it's where
buy,
you get your tobacco.
right. You bought it there, and then in Frontierland, where the pin shop is.
Yeah.
That's because that's where the
well,
other
and-
Indian.
but they
is.
sold tobacco up until 1990.
Yeah.
I
You wouldn't remember.
it was before my time, but like that kind of blew my mind thinking about it now. Like what?
You didn't get the Surgeon General involved until the mid-'60s as far as warnings on cigarette packs that it might cause cancer, and it was really everybody was smoking practically.
In the 90s, there was the, like, you go to a restaurant and it was,
Yeah.
mom would be like,
Smoking.
tell them non-smoking, and
Yeah.
because
I
on the
remember
other
this,
side, that smoke never comes over to your
I do
side.
remember that. We did
Going
go to
to
restaurants that
Denny's
had the smoking and non-smoking.
or bowling,
That's right.
smoking or
Big Apple.
non-smoking.
Yeah. And then Disneyland became non-smoking. You used to
Yes.
be able to smoke over by the
Thunder Mountain.
duck pond, and
There were
then-
several smoking locations. Yes. Now those areas have become service animal dumping grounds.
Yeah, that was always a big fight with guests because you get international people at Disney World, and they would just light up, and you're like, no, you can't do that. And they're like, what? Like they were
I'm
just,
outside.
I'm outside. Oh, I'm gonna really hurt someone. You're like, no, this is how it is. Put it out. You'd be very firm with some of them, and they would get really unhappy about it.
You were probably good at being firm with people.
Oh, it was just like, gotta put it out. Nope, gotta put it out. Nope. I gotta call security if you don't put it out. And they're just like, okay, where do I go? And he's like, you just gotta go 100 feet. 100 feet, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That was before they got rid of the smoking sections.
Yep. Now you got to go out of the park. I don't even know if you can go on the property anymore.
No.
They won't even allow you in the picnic area
anymore. That was the last.
Shunned like bubble gum now.
And then I did know about the bird cages in the Plaza Inn,
Yeah.
and so I have to.
What was the story?
It just Disney planned to have live birds in there for the atmosphere, and then somebody said, "You don't want birds above people eating."
That was the idea behind the tiki room.
Yeah.
But apparently, first happened.
That would
in
be
the
a great
Plaza
show
Inn.
where you get wet at the end of the show, and they're like, "Wait a second, there's no Oh man!"
So they left. They put some bird cages up there, kind of in memory of it. And it had some atmosphere there. I also didn't know, or I didn't remember, that the mushroom in front of Alice in Wonderland and the lighthouse in front of Storybook.
Oh, those were the ticket booths.
Those were ticket booths for the e-tickets and A through E tickets. That's where you would buy them. And maybe somewhere in the back of my mind I remember that, but it was nice to be reminded about that.
I think the one bit from this article is the one that you're actually on right now, is the fence, the 3 different fences of the different eras of that area
Tomorrowland.
of Tomorrowland. They kept the railings of 3 different eras.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
it's really it's just kind of like a fun little, like, you would never notice this.
We're such an exciting podcast. We're talking about railings at Tomorrowland.
But it's over there on the Tomorrowland side of the Matterhorn.
Around submarines.
Yeah.
Well, and the skeleton in Thunder Mountain came from the mine train Nature Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
That one I did know.
J-Fifth just scared me with Walt Disney's face.
And I did and I didn't know that the underground part of the Rocket Rods line is still there, but blocked off. It makes sense. But it made me think, what line are they talking? Oh, yeah, I remember going to the underground part.
Underground, yep.
Even though as the Astro Blaster Buzz Lightyear ride took over most of the line, there's that part that went from up to the loading dock for Rocket Ride.
Circa Vision was always a fun room.
Yes.
Except when it breaks down and then you're watching the same
5 movies.
Yeah,
over
clip.
and over and
Over and
over.
over.
Yeah, that was rough.
Good music. Love that. Let's see. And then there's Working at Disneyland with the Man Who Created It. These are some nice stories of cast members and their interactions with Walt Disney. My favorite was the flying saucer one.
Yes.
Oh, I loved Eddie, the performer, yelling at Walt.
We'll take care of the flying saucer. That he met Walt for the first time working on the flying saucers. Just, oh, okay. And, oh, hello, Irv. He's got his name badge on and so on. And then 3 months later, they're at a party at Disneyland, and Walt Disney. This is the next time that Walt sees him. 3 months later, and he says, "Hi, Irv, how are you doing?" And he's thinking nothing of it because everybody's got their name tags on. After Walt walks away, he realizes he doesn't have his name badge on. So for 3 months,
he remembered this one random cast member.
One member's cast member that he met once in the park.
Irv must have had like a weird booger hanging down. Walt's like, that's Booger Irv right
He could have
there.
had a mustache or some sort of unique trait.
No mustache.
No, they didn't allow mustaches
that's
back
true.
then.
That didn't happen until later.
Maybe
He's got like maybe 2 different kind of ears.
could be, could be.
Just imagine Irv just like,
No picture.
He's got like a giant mole.
yeah.
Moliere.
All right. What story did you like?
Oh, I loved it. Was Eddie Little Sky was a performer at the Disneyland in the Indian Village. His second day on the job, he spotted a man lurking in a restricted area, so he yelled, "Get out of there, or I'll throw you out. We don't want anyone to get hurt and sue Disney." The man apologized and said, "Well, we don't want anyone to do that." Later, while he was on his lunch break, the same man approached him and said, "I'm glad to meet you, and I'm glad you're taking care of my park." I just thought that was so funny. It's just like, oh, that was my boss.
And that was one thing like I noticed with this is that a lot of these stories were the ones that we read in our book review when we did the
Walt and the parks.
Yeah, Walt and the Parks book.
That was
Great
a fun
book.
one.
Great book.
I like the one where he broke into the Sunkiss
to
place to get some orange
orange
juice, but he
juice.
would leave money.
Yeah.
If you want a good book, if you're not up to subscribing to a magazine that's going to cost you a lot over time, buy the Walt and the Parks book, because that's almost as expensive as one of these magazines, and it's just
It's
filled
good.
with
Lots of
great
little treasures
stories
in there.
of Disney in there. Probably the next article is Walt's Windows, which talks about the windows on Main Street that
We
honor,
should really do a series on that.
honor the
Maybe
the
six.
Imagineers.
Six
We had
episodes?
6 episodes of it? Sure.
I was like, yeah, we did that one. We did that one. We did that one.
There wasn't anything particular here that jumped out at me as far as information. What jumped out at me was the quality of the pictures of these
Yes.
windows.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of places that talk about them and they show pictures. The pictures are usually horrible, hard
Yeah.
to see.
Horrible.
They were
And
taken like 20 years ago on like one of those handheld
Bad
cameras.
lighting.
so my hat's off to the photos by Danny Schuster, because for the most part they're really good. It's hard because they're windows, so there's clear, so you see the things behind them. They're
there's
also
glare
got
and-
awnings over them, so the lighting is hard on them. So
Yeah, it's like it's shaded up top. It's like bright at bottom part.
and so I really appreciate the good quality of pictures here, because they have books on these windows and the pictures are horrible.
Right.
They're just horrible. They talk about them nicely, but the pictures are bad. So,
Extensio got screwed on his because his is like white lettering with like a white shade behind it. And you're like, golly, you could have put like a black lining or something
Right.
to create some sort of contrast.
so if you're a fan of the windows and you'd like to see some good pictures, issue 14 of DLR Magazine is your place to go. Next is an article about the community that Disney is building out in the Palm Springs area.
I actually like the history behind it. I didn't know Walt
Had a home there.
had a home there and
I
that
think
like
that's the one he sold to build Disneyland.
and then he's all like, well, I need to get out here, but I don't have time driving. One, I just help get this airport started, and like it's kind of just takes your mind of all like, well, it's not here. Well, then I'm going to make it, or I'm going to get this thing going. And it just shows you it's a different type of mindset as opposed to accepting your world. He's like, no, I'm going to change it so it works for me.
Right.
And I was like, that was cool. It was just that
Cool
little
mindset.
moment.
I like the nice picture of Walt roping, and
At the Smoke Tree Ranch.
yeah.
It's still there, the Smoke Tree Ranch.
I also like they have an arts cafe, and I like the pencil chandelier where they've got pencils hanging down
Right.
around a light to make a chandelier. Looks really good.
What's
And when
the
I saw-
cafe?
what is it called? The Artisan Club is what it's called, and it's got a pencil chandelier in it.
They have the brown derby, Cobb salad, and Walt's favorite chili.
So nice artifacts in there. Again, it sounds like someplace I could never afford to live, but it's kind of nice reading about it.
Yeah.
And then comes the warm apple butter cake.
Man, this one stole my attention.
Oh, yeah. This one looked really good. Reading about the...
Yeah, because this has, like, the PDF you sent has a click thing. Yours has the QR scan, and I'm all like, click, click, I want this.
It just talks about a dessert they used to serve in the Steakhouse 55 that used to be the premier eating restaurant in the Disneyland Hotel. This was before California, Grand Californian was built, and so I think that's kind of moved over to the Grand Californian because it's not open anymore. But they were
it's some other
famous for
lounge
this
now.
cake.
It's like
Yeah, they said it closed into 2021.
2021, but it only opened in 2006, so it's not like ancient history
Right.
per se.
Well, the Disneyland Hotel has a long history of building bigger, better, taller things, so I don't even think the original structure is even there. So,
but if a warm apple butter cake sounds like a good thing to you,
That
the
picture
recipe
is
is
so
there.
good.
It looks
When
really
when
good.
they pour that like warm caramel, like just drizzling down that ice cream, and you see the dried apple little like
yeah.
Oh, garnish.
We're really hoping that Yodeler Jackie is going to bring it for a podcast for each of us to eat.
I mean, that ice
And we
cream
can
melted and like creates this pool of like vanilla ice cream and caramel to where you just cut that little cake and you dip it in there, and it got the hot and cold. Oh man, I was just dreaming of this.
Yep, it's like
Someone sent me the recipe.
I thought.
You just gotta click on the
Oh,
PDF.
I just gotta click on
Mine
the
wasn't
PDF.
working at the time.
I've almost passed this article up, but I said no. I'm going to read this magazine.
An American
cover
in
to
Paris?
cover. And
No,
that one?
the Apple one. And
Apple
then when I
cake.
read it, it was just like my mouth was drooling and so on. Now the
I
next
made a
one-
mistake.
Is that why you were like, oh, did you bring cookies? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, the next article is about an American in Paris, which is dining at Walt's, an American restaurant.
Yeah.
Walt's, the name of the
restaurant
restaurant is
Walt's.
Walt's, an American restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was nice reading about that. It sounds like they did a real good job. I've been to Disneyland Paris. I did not go to Walt's, an American.
You have to get reservations.
restaurant.
Yeah, it's one of those hard to get into
Yeah.
places.
I kind of liked it because it said that each room of the restaurant was themed after a land. And I remember growing up in Cave Creek, Arizona, they used to have a restaurant there. And each room was themed after a different continent of the U.S. And I remember going to the African room. And that was fun. So I thought, this would be really fun to go to at Disneyland.
A lot of fans love the Tomorrowland room where it's like they got a lot of like Nautilus.
This is more like
themes and things
steampunk.
that. Yeah. So but it's like elegant. So it's not like heavy steampunk, but it's like elegant looking. And so they got a lot of like
Captain
Nautiluses.
Nemo, kind of Jules Verne style.
Yeah.
And I liked learning about Disney's French name that is the original name would have been D''ISIGNY, and they even served butter with that name on it at the restaurant.
Yeah.
The French original version. Yeah, that was kind of a fun part of it, but made me
I
think
like the can, for the chili.
for the chili.
They have a porcelain cup
that looks like a tin
that
can.
looks like a tin can
It's
for the
shaped
chili.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's cute.
it was funny. I was like, even the French are like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah, they took the American restaurant and all the recipes are kind of Frenched
They
it up, but that's probably not a bad thing.
I noticed they had a picture of Walt's bust there, and I could tell you that bust was originally at the MGM studios.
Oh.
Oh, was that the one that was outside?
Yeah.
Well, until it started to melt, and then they said, no, we got to bring Walt in.
Well, until half the people in that thing were like bad news was coming out with half the people on those displays of actors and things like that, like Bill Cosby and actors like that. So they're like, we're gonna take this off.
Yeah, like it's the end of the American experience.
Yeah, exactly.
The next article is about Walt, the world traveler, and all the places he's gone, and the inspiration he took from different parts of his trips. It was kind of interesting to me. They talk about the Neuschwander.
Oh, the Neuschwanstein?
Yes.
I've been there.
Castle. And it's like, I learned that, so the Disneyland castle is only half the age of that castle because it was built in 1880.
Yeah.
So it's fairly recent. It's not, knights in shining armor. No.
It was a romanticized castle.
1880 castle. And so it kind of, okay.
Not as cool.
Not quite as cool. No knights in shining armor.
No, it's it's very pretty inside. But yeah, it's that kind of, a rich royalty was just like, I want this cool old castle that'll be remembered forever, and it wasn't even finished.
And now it's gonna be remembered as
They call it the Disney Castle. That's what they call it. Because when we went and stayed with our Airbnb, it's like, oh, what are you doing? We're like, oh, we're gonna go to the Neuschwanstein Castle. Like, oh, they're like, it was probably because you're saying it wrong. And he's like, oh, you're going to the Disney Castle. Like that's what he called it. And you're like, yeah, we're gonna go to the Disney Castle. And like, it was cool. The day we went, it was fogged out. So like, there's this scene where people like go on the balcony, you see the beautiful mountains. Completely grayed out. Like you couldn't see more than 5 feet in front of you. It was raining. I think
not the best experience.
It was miserable. I had to fight like some person with an umbrella to get on the bus so we can get on our bus. And it was, I'm always like, boy, you're really aggressive. I'm all like, yeah, it's like you gotta, it was, those tourists there, it's so go to Disneyland, much friendlier. You're not fighting people's umbrellas and getting poked.
And if you're like, oh, I wonder what that castle looks like. If you've written Soarin' Around the World, that's one of the flybys is that castle. So
the other thing that jumped out at me on this article was and I probably knew it before, but it just hit me was that the monorail and the Matterhorn were both inspired by Walt's trips to Europe, but it just hit me when he said, they were designed and built in 1 year. And I'm thinking, what does Disney build in 1 year? And these are like such fantastic things. The monorail
took this test of time. Yeah.
The Matterhorn, which was the first tube roller coaster. And I like how Bob Gurr says, Walt says, build this mountain and put a roller coaster in it. Oh, 2 tracks.
What?
Oh, okay. That all came from Walt, and he got it in a year's time. Just amazing.
I like the topiaries. He was inspired in Denmark. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was inspired by something that he saw.
Well, it's a funny story about the topiaries. It's because when Michael Eisner became president, he saw Disney World had all these topiaries. And he was like, we need to have topiaries at Disneyland. And then realized that, like, oh, we can't. We don't have the water to keep these things alive.
They used to have, when Small World opened up,
Small
they
World
had
had
a lot of
Yes.
topiaries. They did.
What's shocking about Small World, I did like the whole clock thing.
Yes.
The inspiration behind the clock.
It was in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clark. Yeah. And then they talked about the storytellers, partners, statues. It always amazes me how they were just put in the partner statue in the California 93, I think it was.
Yeah, it was around there.
And it's like, oh, that's fairly recent.
Well, recent maybe from our perspective,
from
but for other people, it's like, oh, that was eons ago, the 90s.
Yeah,
in the late 20th century.
Yeah. And then the next article is Walking with Walt, discovering Walt's quiet spot in a little corner of Disneyland. I liked hearing the story that where Walt would go for a quiet moment was there at the landing for the Mark
Bell.
Twain riverboat, and he
I
would
could
just
smell the fumes already.
he just would stare there and look at the island there, which he helped design so much of it. They said he was probably more involved with the designing of that island than many
rest of
other
the park.
parks. And I just thought, it's a shame that was ripped out of Walt Disney World, and I hope they never rip it out of Disneyland, because it is such an iconic view and picture shot.
It's
with
Walt's
that
childhood.
Columbia
It
and
really
the Mark
is.
Twain there.
It's Walt's childhood. Like
I mean, there's like Main Street, but I think the Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn
Yes.
story defines what kids
childhood,
read
yeah.
and experienced, just being free and wanting kids to have that same experience.
Right.
That was my biggest takeaway from reading those books last year, was like, oh wow, the freedom of a kid and just exploring and getting into trouble and swimming and hunting and just getting into trouble. And I'm all like, it's just it was and I go, oh, this is a capture of a boy's childhood, and Walt captured in his imagination and made it into the real world. And I was like, that's cool. I had a better appreciation after reading those books and seeing what Walt.
and then they made it Pirate's Lair, and it's like, no.
But I like what the article brought up, that Walt's life was probably influenced with the book of Peter Pan, which says nothing important happens to us after 12.
Yeah.
After being 12. And I thought, wow, yeah, looking at the world from that point of view. And it closed off the article by saying, this land is your land, as it says in the dedicatory speech that Walt gives. But it ends with, this land is your land, but it was his too, meaning it was Walt's land.
Right.
And very much so.
Where-
You have that warm fuzzies when you
Where
hear
where
ones
would
like
be?
that.
Where's your quiet place? Where's your guys' quiet place?
At Disneyland?
Yeah. I mean, you could say any park, but I'm just curious.
Mine
Where's
was
your-
always sitting by the Dumbo.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's your
the-
spot.
It's
not
not
a quiet
place, but I
that's your
love
spot.
the music there and just the Dumbo spinning around and the water feature there. I just was a very, very good place for me to feel like I was at Disneyland.
I think it's like on a bench. There's like by the castle on the way to the Matterhorn. Kind of over by the fountain, but not in the back there.
Not by the wishing well, or
Not like all the way back there, but a little bit more forward.
Okay.
So closer to the hub.
Yeah, closer to the hub, but more on the way to the Matterhorn.
Okay.
kind of like next
So
to
next
the
to
Pixie
the
Hollow.
Pixie Hollow.
Yeah, but like across.
Okay,
Okay.
so in the shade, the
Yeah.
shady portion.
The shady portion.
Yes, you want shade.
There's crime in that area.
And then the next article is, did you know Walt Disney? And I like the first one, which talked about the fact that his grandfather bought a property of 200 acres specifically because it was up against the railroad tracks and Disney's love of railroads. And I thought, oh, grandfather, train right there.
Uncle.
No, this was the
I know,
Well, I
but
know,
the
but there's-
uncle
The
is
uncle
number
was,
2.
Right. Was the
Or
you
excuse
go
me,
ahead
number
and-
3.
You go ahead and tell that.
Well, it's just his uncle worked on trains, and that just really solidified.
Was a storyteller, I
Yeah.
think it's.
And then Walt worked on a train too,
And that was basically the end of the magazine there. The end there. After that, you get the opportunity to sign up for it or whatever. As I said, right now they've got the WDW, which is about Walt Disney World. That's a monthly magazine. They've got the DLR Magazine, which is about the Disneyland Resort, which comes out 4 times a year. And they're just releasing now the DCL, which is the Disney Cruise Line magazine, which comes out twice a year.
for those cruisers.
And
there's a lot of content there now.
and so the other factor that's an option right now is if you sign up for any digital magazine, you get access to all the previous magazines. So if you're interested in all those magazines they've done since 2013. You sign up for one of these subscriptions in a digital fashion, you have access to all the magazines that they've made since 2013. They've also got specialty magazines about the Haunted Mansion and Pirates and Jungle Cruise and some other ones. But I think it doesn't replace the D23 magazine completely. You don't have the aspects of the movies and TV.
It doesn't have the proper, like, we're going to advertise what's coming out.
Right. But
This
it does. If you're a person that appreciates like history and things like that,
And the parks.
the little gold nuggets that
this scratches that itch, and
you're
that's
going to have
like
to
when I
dig
read
really deep on YouTube to find this kind of information.
when I read this, and I was just like, yeah, this is the type of thing that I would read, that I do enjoy. That's why, like, when we said, it's like, oh, it's like the blogs. I'm like, this is 1,000 times better than the blogs.
Way better.
Because
Again,
it's just like-
it's all positive. You're not getting any
and it's
trash.
it's not filler. It's not like we're gonna give you this 10-paragraph history segment of this thing just to get to a news article. It's like,
and then we'll give you all the history, and
when
you're
I-
like, I don't want this. I know this. Keep going.
yeah.
When I said blog, I meant
I'm not
more.
trying to criticize you.
I'm just wanted to clarify. When I said blog, I just wanted to put more of like, it was more personable. Like there's more personality. It wasn't like facts and like,
It was an AI-driven article.
it wasn't a textbook.
And by the way, you wore the right blouse today. They match your headphones very
Oh,
nicely.
thank you. Pink headphones and a pink shirt.
Yes. Looks good.
Yes.
And we're chopped liver. No.
What am I, chopped liver over here? No, I'm just Walt's chili. Well, that was really good. I really appreciate you sharing this magazine with us. I don't know if I would have picked it up. I'm a generation where it's all like magazines. I don't want to go through half advertisements.
I've gotten 14 issues of it. This is the first one I've read all the way through, and I said, I got to go back and read the rest of them.
There was a lot in there, and I really do appreciate it. There was moments I'm going, maybe I should get this. I don't know. Or we're like, no, Dad's got it.
Yeah.
It's always available.
So what's it called again? So
this one was the DLR magazine. But if you want to go online to sign up for it, you look for WDW magazine. You search for WDW, which is Walt Disney World magazine. You'll find it.
it's under that.
It's under that.
address.
So the WDW magazine came out first. So if you want the DLR magazine, you look for it under the WDW magazine, and that'll bring you to the site.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing this with you, and hopefully the listeners, if they're curious, just look it up and see what you think, if it is your kind of cup of tea. With that being said, please follow us on our social medias, ask us questions. If you've got a cool fact about what we discussed, share it with us. We're always open for little nuggets of gold about the history of the parks
Nuggets
or
of
Walt.
gold. Yeah.
We'll take gold at its
Yeah.
prices. Yeah. With that being said, Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.